I got a lot of new manga in May, including some really exciting older books that I've been hunting for years. So come along with me as we talk about everything that I picked up in May. May has passed, June is here, which means we're almost halfway done with the year. And it's like a month away from my birthday, which is pretty exciting as well. And that also means it's time to take a look at my May 2023 manga haul. Now we have a ton of new stuff this month, a lot of new releases, and also a lot of older things that I picked up either from eBay or at Half Price Books. And as always, if you are familiar with my haul videos, the way that I structure this, we'll be looking at all the new releases first, organized from the publishers with the least amount of books to the one with the most that I picked up during the month. And then we move into the older releases and stuff, and that's where the bulk of this video is going to be. So let's not waste any more time. Let's get on into it. If you're new here, welcome. Hope you enjoy your time here, and I hope you'll consider hitting that like button and the subscribe button. So we're starting off with new releases from publishers that I have like 1, 2, 3, 4 books from. The first one from Last Gasp is I Saw It. This is from the creator of Barefoot Gen. I do have the single issue edition of this, but this one is a reprinted edition that's graphic novel, so it's a square-bound book instead of being a magazine print, and I'm glad to have a newer version of this because that one is from like the 80s and it is rather yellowed newsprint pages, so glad to have this one. Next up we have one from Titan. This is Kamen Rider Kuga Volume 3. If you're a fan of tokusatsu and sentai stuff, you haven't been reading this one, I highly recommend it. Then from Tokyo Pop we have one book, We Can't Do Just Plain Love. This is a spicy romance series that a lot of friends of mine were a big fan of, even before it got licensed in English, so I was excited to try this out because I always like to see why my friends like the stuff that they like. And it was spicy, I will say that. Then from One Piece Books, we have 2 releases. First up, Usatoki Rhetoric Volume 3. If you're a fan of mystery and you haven't picked up Usatoki Rhetoric, I absolutely am like, you have to. It's such a great mystery series. It's a young girl who basically has the ability to hear when people are lying to her. She meets up with a guy, a detective, and they start working together. It's good. It's only going to be 10 volumes, so you're not going to have to make a big commitment like with other mystery series such as, you know, Case Closed or Detective Conan, but it's good. It's good. And then also from One Piece, Parallel World Pharmacy Volume 1. This one was also a lot of fun, and I'm going to have a review video up about this in the near future, where I'm also going to be giving away 4 copies, because One Piece Books sent me some extra copies of the book so I could give it away to some viewers. So stay tuned for that one. Should be up next week from the time that I post this video. Then we have a couple from Denpa. First up, the long-awaited March Comes In Like a Lion. Finally here. Hopefully we don't have as bad of waits between the subsequent volumes, because as fans of other Denpa series like Kaiji know, Denpa can take a little while between volumes. This is Kaiji Volume 4, and we've had roughly 1 volume of Kaiji per year. Now, this is 4 out of 6 for the Gambling Apocalypse arc. Thus far, I don't know if they're going to license anything past Gambling Apocalypse, so we will see, hopefully in the near future, whether they plan to do more. And then we have 2 from Webtoon Unscrolled. First up is Tower of God Volume 2. I wasn't a huge fan of Volume 1, but I've been told by people to keep going because it does get better. Volume 2 was a little bit better. We'll see where it goes with the subsequent volumes. And then not really a manga or manhwa or anything, but I also picked up from Webtoon Unscrolled, Everything Is Fine. This one's great. I really enjoyed reading this volume, and I don't usually, but I might actually read the webtoon version online because I really want to see what happens next there. It's kind of a horror series. Just read the first couple chapters, you'll get it. Then we have 3 from Dark Horse, 3 really cool releases. Volume 5 of Eizouken, and then we have Volume 11 from Mob Psycho. Both really good volumes. Mob is only 5 volumes away from ending now, so hopefully Dark Horse doesn't take too much longer to release those last several volumes. And the final volume, the 12th omnibus of Gantz. This big boy collects the last 4 volumes of the single editions. I know some of you are probably thinking, how did you get that so early? This is available, it has been available for like 3 or 4 weeks already from the direct market, which would be like your local comic shop or online comic shops like InStockTrades.com, they've had this for a little while. It doesn't come out until the end of the month, until the end of June for bookstores and stuff, but for the comic shops, they've had it for a little bit. So if you want it earlier, you can already get it. Then from Square Enix, we get 4 new releases. Tokyo Aliens Volume 3, The Girl I Like Forgot Her Glasses Volume 3. This one's anime is coming out soon, and we got I think the opening showed up. Was it the opening? I don't know, but whatever that little clip was, it was not great looking, but I really enjoy the manga. So if you like cute little like shonen rom-com and stuff that are pretty mostly wholesome, I'd recommend checking out that one. Then we have The Great Jahi Will Not Be Defeated Volume 5, and finally from Square Enix, Casino Alice Volume 3. I am kind of trying to rush through these because I have so many to go through, and I don't want this video to be like an hour long because I don't want to have to edit an hour-long video. So let's jump into the next stack, which is going to be my new Kodansha books. All right, so we have a pretty decent-sized stack from Kodansha. First up from the Maiden's Bookshelf line. The newest one there is the Surgery Room. These I've shown off before, like little storybooks. It's mostly just a showcase for the artwork. They are a bit expensive. See this one, not even art on those pages. They are a bit expensive for how much art you get and how many pages they are. This is like a $20 book, but they are very beautifully crafted and put together. Then we've got Shaman King Flowers Volume 2. This was continuing a lot of fun with the series. The first volume was great. I'm glad that the second volume came out so quickly since the first volume was delayed. A Condition Called Love. This one just got an anime announced. So if you are looking for some good shoujo romance, definitely check out Condition Called Love from Kodansha and check out the anime when it airs. And then we've got a shonen romance, the final volume of Miss Miyazen. This one was pretty cute as well. Only 4 volumes, so if you want a good short shonen rom-com, Miss Miyazen is there for you. Then Blue Period Volume 13. These last couple volumes have been some of my favorites of the series. I really love where the series is going right now. I wasn't crazy about it at the beginning, but now that they're in school with the critiques and all that stuff, it's giving me a lot of the vibes of what I went through when I was in art school. Next up we have Wand Dance Volume 5. This one has a really funny cover. I'm not going to show an up-close look at what's on the hat here because I don't want to get in trouble, but you can zoom in and maybe find it in the store. This one's a lot of fun as well. I've said it before, but I hope this one gets licensed just so we can see the fluid motion of the dances and stuff because it's a dancing series. But they're probably not going to be able to get all the licensed music that is used throughout the series because it'd be really expensive. Anyway, then we have Tsugumi Project Volume 1. This was a fantastically fun, just high-octane action series. If you're a fan of like Hell's Paradise, I highly recommend this. It is a ton of fun. It has fantastic artwork as well, and it also has some really great like colored pages at the beginning of the book. So Kodansha really did well with this release. Grand Blue Dreaming 19, not much more to say than it's still as funny as ever. A Sign of Affection Volume 6, I actually got the whole series this month, but this one is the new volume, so I'll cover the other 5 in a little bit. Yakuza's Bias Volume 1, if you're a fan of stuff like Way of the House Husband or Geek X Hitman, this is in line with those. Try it out, it's great. It's a Yakuza who becomes obsessed with like idol culture and K-pop and stuff. Now, one of my favorite reads from the past couple months, PTSD Radio Omnibus 3. This is kind of the final volume of this series because it's on an indefinite hiatus right now, and honestly has the best like non-ending that I could ever even think of for the book. The way that it ends with the chapters that are like real life stories of the author going through things like similar to what he writes about in the book, fantastic. Like, it's great. If you like horror at all, PTSD Radio is one of, if not the best horror manga that I've ever read. Then we have the third and final omnibus for number 6. This is a fun kind of mystery action shoujo thriller. I'd never read it before, so this is my first time experiencing it. I had a really good time with it. And then we have volume 4, the 4th omnibus of Fire Force. Just wrapped this one up yesterday. Having a great time with this series. It is a ton of fun. I've said it before, but I personally greatly prefer Fire Force over Soul Eater. We're comparing both of his works. Now let's move on to my Viz pickups for the month. All right, let's make our way through this stack. At the top, I have one new Shoujo Beat title for this month, and that was Snow White with the Red Hair, volume 25. Yes. So we got that one here. Then we have Spider-Man Fake Red. This was a ton of fun. It's just a single volume story about a Japanese kid who finds Spider-Man's suit in an alleyway and decides to use it and start helping people. I really enjoyed it, so if you're coming off of Spider-Verse with some spider fever, I'd recommend picking it up if you just want a quick read. And it's not that expensive. It's $15 for like a double-sized volume, which is really, really nice. Komi Can't Communicate, volume 25. Still loving this series. Yashahime Volume 3, if you're a fan of Inuyasha, that's there so you can continue the story. Call of the Night Volume 12. This one, I know the Blu-ray for the anime just got announced, coming from Sentai, so that's going to be exciting for a lot of people. Sakamoto Days Volume 8, Ayashimon 2, there's only one volume left of this one. Dragon Ball Super Volume 18, we're going to be wrapping up the Granola arc pretty soon. This one also features some Bardock, so that's what we get on the cover there. Mashal Volume 12, Twin Star Exorcist Volume 28, Dark Gathering Volume 1 was a fantastic debut volume. I think if you're into ghost, ghouls, spirits, that type of stuff, this is going to be a really cool one. And I literally just before sitting down to film saw that an anime is coming for this one. So pick up the manga so you can be ready for that anime release. And then Volume 8, the penultimate, the second to last hardcover of JoJo's Part 5, Golden Wind. Volume 9 will be the last one, and then we will start seeing Part 6, Stone Ocean, released. Then we have a couple of signature releases, Zom 100 Volume 10. As always, fantastic, funny. I think this is going to be around the halfway point for the series, just judging by how much of the bucket list has been completed. It should be around 20 or maybe a little bit more than 20 volumes all said and done. And Chojin X Volume 2. And then the last new book from Viz is the JoJo 6251 art book. I do have the Japanese edition of this one already, and I haven't sat down to compare the two, but the English art books that Viz has been putting through from the Shonen Jump line lately are absolutely phenomenal. This one, Demon Slayer and Haikyuu, all fantastic. If you're a fan of those titles, I recommend picking up the art books because they are great. Anyway, so that's it for Viz. Now let's move into Yen Press. All right, so we got a decent number of books from Yen Press. A lot of them, though, are Yen sends me the new volume 1s and stuff every month so that I can talk about them in the manga buyer's guides and stuff. So I'm going to go over the stuff that I bought and then all the things that they sent me. First up, Oshinoko Volume 2, huge series right now, obviously. Then Chitose is in the Ramune Bottle Volume 3. And we've got Case Study of Vanitas Volume 9, Honey Lemon Soda Volume 2, Delicious in Dungeon Volume 12. This one's, the trailer for the anime just came out recently, and I am super pumped. I think it's, Trigger that's animating it. I know a lot of people really like Trigger, so check it out. It's great. If you're a fan of fantasy, Dungeons & Dragons, that kind of stuff, it's a great fantasy gourmet series. And while it is very focused on the gourmet aspects of like the cooking and the food and whatnot, there is a really fantastic, deep emotional plot there. So if you haven't been reading it, highly recommended from me. Volume 16 of Kakegurui, and then we get into the ones that Yen sent me this month, starting off with my favorite of the stack, Handyman Saito in Another World. Absolutely love this first volume. The sense of humor is fantastic. I haven't watched the anime at all, but I definitely want to check it out just because of how much I love that first volume, and I can't wait to have more. This one has the very long title. This is My Instant Death Ability is So Overpowered, No One in This Other World Stands a Chance Against Me. So an isekai title about a dude who literally just has to think about it and he can cause instant death. The first of 3 volumes of the Words Bubble Up Like Soda Pop adaptation. Then we have the first volume of a new Sword Art Online manga, Progressive Scherzo of Deep Night. So if you're a fan of that one, it follows off of I think from the original series. It takes place after that. Then another spin-off for Danmachi, Is It Wrong to Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon, Memoria Freeze? I don't know anything about that franchise, so I say that whenever I talk about the new, because there was another new Danmachi spin-off, I think in the May video, and there's this one in the June video. So I don't know anything about Danmachi, so I apologize, but it's out there for y'all who are fans of it. Then a reincarnated witch spells doom, Higurashi When They Cry Go, Volume 1. This is one of 2 that we'll get in English, and this is a sequel. Even though it starts off and it might not seem like it is a sequel to the original series. So I would say don't just jump into Go. You want to read the original Higurashi, or at least like watch or experience it in some way, because it's in a lot of other formats too. Then a manhwa from Yen Press, Bloody Sweet. It is a vampire story, young girl who unleashes an ancient vampire who then starts following her around like he's a puppy or something. The Essence of Being a Muse. This one's a drama series. I need to read the rest of this first volume, but the first chapter was really intriguing. And the all-in-one omnibus edition of Appare Ranman, the adaptation of the anime that came out, I think like 2020 or so is when it came out. Anyway, so if you're a fan of the anime, check out the manga. It's an all-in-one, the whole story in one big volume. And finally, from Yen Press, a sketchbook, art book from Kaoru Mori, the creator of Emma and Bride Story. This one's really cool. It's a hardcover with a nice dust jacket on it, and it's got a ton of sketches with little, notes and material about the sketches throughout the book. So it feels like you actually have like Kaoru Mori's actual sketchbook in hand with all of her own notes and stuff. So that's everything from Yen Press. Now the last stack of new releases is going to be 7 Seas. There's a lot of really cool stuff that came out from them back in May. So let's take a look at those. All right, so we got a decent sized stack from 7 Seas this month. First up, the final volume 24 of Yuna and the Haunted Hot Springs. We get volume 5 of Young Ladies Don't Play Fighting Games. Then volume 7 of Skip and Loafer, everyone's favorite current seinen romance series. The anime's been doing really well lately, so the manga, of course, is getting a boost in sales. Volume 6 of 100 Girlfriends That Really, 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 Really Love You. Volume 4 of Colorless. This one's a fun sci-fi series with a cool art motif of having limited color added in there. Things are kind of coming to a head, it seems. There's going to be a lot of action coming up soon. Then Candy and Cigarettes Volume 4. Really enjoying the series. I started off with it a little bit okay, and then I think it's really gone somewhere since the first volume. I've really been enjoying it. And then most of the stuff I get is from Right Stuff, but these Right Stuff, I don't know if they have them yet, but the 7 Seas store, the Go Manga store, had them available. That's the reprints of Frank and Fran. All 4 omnibus editions were reprinted and available from the Go Manga store, which is 7 Seas store. So this one's been out of print for a little while, and a lot of people were super pumped to have it back, and I was glad to be able to pick it up for a cheap price. Again, I don't know if Right Stuff has it available just yet, but if the Go Manga store does still have it, or if they get more copies, they had it available for 10% off the cover price and free shipping. So the cost would be close to what you get it for on Right Stuff. And then we have Polar Bear Cafe Volume 2. This one's a nice, wholesome little comedy series. Ladies on Top Volume 3. That one's it is wholesome, but it's also spicy at the same time, so not wholesome like Polar Bear Cafe. Volume 3 of Yakuza Fiance. This one's fantastic. I love Yakuza stuff, so I was going to love it. One of my favorite reads of the past month, Soloist in the Cage Volume 1. This is a 3-volume series that is on Manga Plus, so if you want to just try it out, see how it is, check it out. It is a just fantastic thriller that came out on Shonen Jump Plus. So again, it's on the Manga Plus app. You can try it out if you want to. It's not that long. It's only 3 volumes. Last Game Volume 1, a shoujo rom-com. I really loved this first volume. It was a lot of fun. I can't wait to read more. I think it's only 10 volumes too, so not too much of a commitment. And then Volume 2 of a classic shoujo rom-com, Marmalade Boy. These new editions from 7 Seas are fantastically put together. I'm so happy that they're putting them out there. And one of my most anticipated for the year, Don't Call It Mystery Volume 1 from Yumi Tamura, legendary creator of series like Basara and 7 Seeds. This one was announced last summer. We finally got it this past month, and I just finished reading it yesterday. Absolutely love the first volume. It does take a little bit to get into, and the first few chapters are 100 pages long, but once you get into it, especially if you're a fan of mystery series, you're gonna really dig it. I really love Totono, the main character, his attitude, his mannerisms and stuff like that, and I can't wait to read more of this series. Then we have a all-in-one volume, A Story of Seven Lives. I thought this was just going to be a cute cat manga, but it actually turned out to be a really like heavy drama about like the just emotional relationships between these stray cats and the humans that they interact with. If you want to read something like that, if you want some emotional pet stuff, then this is the perfect book to pick up for that. And then Yokohama Kaidashi Kiko, very wholesome, relaxing read about a robot woman after the apocalypse. So that's all of the new release manga, and I do have a short stack of new released anime that I picked up. All of these from Discotech. First up, the Project Echo 4, the final. This is the fourth and final Project Echo. So if you've been picking those up, that is done now. Lupin the Third, Angel Tactics, which is the 17th of the Lupin the Third TV specials. We're now missing, I think, 5 of the TV specials that need to be released on some format, so that we can have a whole set of those available physically in English. Though beyond that, there are also 5 TV specials that have only ever been released on DVD, and it'd be nice to have those re-released on Blu-ray. Aim for the Ace, the movie. I have the series, so I figured I should probably get the movie as well. And then this was one of my most anticipated anime releases from Discotech, and that is Ultimate Muscle, the complete series. This is the English version, so it does have, I think there was some material that was created originally for Fox for the English release. It's all in here, all 77 episodes on 2 Blu-ray discs. I somewhat recently, like 4 or 5 years ago, rewatched about half of the series, and it is just as goofy as you would remember it, and it's fantastic for that. So that's all the new stuff, the new manga and the new anime. Now let me get together all the old stuff, because we have a lot to look at with the older releases that I picked up, including a lot of really great rare finds that I had. So let's get into it. All right, so we got a lot to cover on this part. Let's go ahead and get on into it. First up, one reprint, an older book, Kami-sama Kiss Volume 13. This is the final volume of that series that I needed, so Right Stuff finally got it in stock. I grabbed it, now I'm done collecting that one. And then I mentioned that I got a few more things from Last Gasp when I ordered I Saw It, so I also got from them, because they were doing a pretty steep sale. I don't know if it's still going on, but maybe check it out to see if they are. Tokyo Zombie, Heaven's Door, and 2 volumes of Junko Mizuno's Pelu. So I think I have everything that Junko Mizuno has released in English now. Then another publisher sale. I did like the 7 Seas purchase, the Last Gas purchase, and then this one from Digital Manga Publishing all around the same time. But we've got a bunch of stuff from Tezuka that I got from Digital Manga Publishing. I think the first volume of Captain Ken, though, I got off of eBay because they didn't have it there. But they went on to their Twitter and said, some of our stuff is selling out, so if you want copies, you might want to jump on it soon. So I went ahead and did so, and got Wonder 3, this big old book, as well as Crime and Punishment, this not too big old book, and Volume 2 of Captain Ken, and then I also picked up a copy of Volume 1, like I said, on eBay, and then I got more Tezuka, because as I was going off the checklist of getting all the English language Tezuka releases, I started looking online for which ones I could get for, cheap or decent at least prices, and found a copy of Triton Volume 2. I've had Volume 1 for a little bit, so it was good to finally get Volume 2. And then a couple of older Dark Horse releases, Metropolis and Lost World, so I'm really happy to grab these older ones. I just need to get Next World, and that'll wrap up, I guess, all the Dark Horse releases. And then I found out, I didn't know this before, but there is a bilingual edition of the first volume of the Jungle Emperor Leo. So it's bilingual, which means that it has the English translation as well as the Japanese letters and stuff on there to help people in Japan to learn English. So I don't have one of these I don't have a bilingual edition, I think, in my collection yet, as far as I can recall. So this is the first one of that. But as far as my Tezuka collection goes, there's, aside from the big ones like volumes 4 through 17 of Blackjack, and of course all of Phoenix. I only have a couple more Tezuka books I need to find. Unless those, longer ones get reprinted, I don't know how or when or if I'm going to get them. But all I'm going to say is that the last time I looked at a lot of the Phoenix volumes, all 12 volumes on eBay, they were like $1,500, which is absolutely insane. But if I have 70,000 plus followers on YouTube and every single one of you send me like 2 cents, I could afford it. Anyway, let's move on to the next stack, which is going to be the stuff that I found at Half Price Books. We have a couple of Half Price Books hauls. I kind of jumped the gun and went once and then went again because they had a sale over Memorial Day or whichever weekend holiday it was. So the first stack, I got some stuff that was really good find, some stuff that I just grabbed because it was cheap. The first volume, the Rebels manga adaptation, I think there's only 3 of this one from Yen Press. I have most of the Star Wars manga, so when I saw that I was like, yeah, I should probably get that. This one I was really excited about, and that is the first 5 volumes of Pet Shop of Horrors from Tokyo Pop. I watched the anime of this one for the first time last year, really dug it. When I saw these for $5 each, I was like, yeah, I gotta get that. I'm gonna get that. Now, just a matter of finding the latter 5 volumes and the sequel so I can complete the English collection. Then for The Kid I Saw in My Dreams, Volume 2 and 3, found these for really cheap. This is from Keisanbe. I think Volume 11 is coming out soon, or just recently came out, and that's the final volume of this series from Yen Press, which is released in these nice hardcover editions. Another Yen Press book, I saw the 2 volumes of Secret at half price, so I decided to grab those as well. I know I got to grab the other titles in that series from that creator, and then a few In America Extra magazines. Saw these and each of them was like $2, so I grabbed them. This one has Banana Fish on the cover, this one has Video Girl Eye on the cover, and then this one has Yumi Tamura's Chicago on the cover, so some really nice artwork on there. But then I went back to Half Price Books during that holiday weekend, and that's when I found the really cool stuff. These are not in order whatsoever, but I found Chihayafuru volumes in Japanese. I found the first like 20 volumes. Yeah, these are not in order. I thought I had them in order, so I want to show like the first volume first. Yeah, so I got the first 20 out of 50 volumes in Japanese of Chihayafuru. I was very happy to find these, and I left them there after my first trip. Because I was like, I'm gonna leave them, and if someone wants them, someone else, I'm gonna let them, stay here. But then when that sale happened, I was like, you know what? Let me go check and see if they're still there, and if they are, because it was like an extra 20% off of the already cheap books, then I'll go ahead and grab them. And they were still there, the whole set. No one had grabbed a single one. So I am now the proud owner of the first 20 volumes of Chihayafuru in Japanese. Hopefully my sacrifice will go towards this getting an English printing. There's a lot of us who are fighting for it to happen, and who knows, maybe with the digital volumes eventually wrapping up, I think they just released volume 38 out of 50 into the English and digital. Maybe we'll finally get it in physical. If you're not familiar, this is a josei manga about a young girl who plays the Japanese game of karuta, which is like a card game where you match lines of poetry together. That's the basic way of describing it. It has a 3-season anime, but the anime only covers, I don't think it even covers the first half of the series. So hopefully more of the anime comes in the future as well. So that's everything for the half price book stuff. Now I'm going to go through what I grabbed during Right Stuff's Kodansha sale, because I got a lot of stuff from there, including some things that I was recommended by viewers of mine. Okay, so I have these in a couple of boxes, so we're gonna go through them. First up, I finally got the hardcover collector's edition of Clover from Clamp. I've been wanting to get this for a little while, just haven't moved on it. So I'm glad I finally added that to the collection, and I've been wanting to kind of expand my Clamp shelf as well to get more of the stuff that they've had in English. Then I've got, this is Utsubora, the story of a novelist. I can't remember the whole title. I got this one, it's a single volume release, and I got this one entirely because the creator is Asumiko Nakamura, who's the same creator as Tales of the Kingdom, which is currently being published by Yen Press. And I absolutely love that series. So when I saw that this was on sale and it's the same creator, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna pick that one up. Then we've got another single volume release, Ichi F. I've seen this one around quite a bit. I've heard some people talk about it, and I like my single volume mangas, so decided to pick up this fat boy just to go along with that, that love for single volume releases. Then we've got a 3-volume series, this one, volume 3 being the final volume, if I'm not mistaken, of Run Away With Me Girl. This is a GL manga that was very highly recommended by my friend Colleen from Colleen's Manga Rex. So I went ahead and grabbed all 3 volumes during the sale. And then another series that I've seen a lot of friends talking about is Life Lessons with Uramichi Onisan. So I got all 4 of the volumes that are currently available for this one. And while I read like everything in my new releases pile, like all of those books that I showed in the first half of the video, I haven't gotten to these yet, but the goal is going to be to catch up with each of the ongoing ones by the time that the next volume comes out. So that's usually how I do when I buy something new. Then we have, I mentioned Sign of Affection 6 when I showed it earlier that I grabbed the whole series. So we have volumes 1 through 5 here as well. This has been recommended to me several times and praised by a lot of my friends. So when I saw that it was available on sale, I knew I had to get it. 5. And then we have Beyond the Clouds, The Girl Who Fell from the Sky. This one I've seen recommended several times, and honestly just really wanted it based on the fantastic artwork alone. So this one has 4 volumes right now. There's volume 2, volume 3, and volume 4 of Beyond the Clouds. And some of these might go back on sale because they're going to do their birthday sale in starting in the end of June, going through July. So if you want to pick any of these up, you might be able to still get them for a good sale price within the next month or so. Then here's one that I had actually dropped before because I couldn't keep up with it at the time. And I never said that I didn't like it. I just said, it's kind of does the same thing that Delicious in Dungeon does, but Delicious in Dungeon does it better. But I wanted to return to this one because I really love the artwork, and that is Drifting Dragons. So if you're not familiar with the series, like Delicious in Dungeon, it is kind of a fantasy series that also focuses a lot on the gourmet aspect. I read the first 6 volumes, I think, as they were coming out, and I enjoyed it. The artwork was by and far the best part about them. And when I saw it on sale, I was like, you know what? I've been wanting to go back and read this one again, give it a second shot, because it's a beautifully illustrated series. And so I've decided to go ahead and take advantage of the sale and pick it up. So yeah, now I've got the first, 12 volumes, I guess, of this one. So I'll have to catch back up again by the time volume 13 comes out, so I can be ready to keep going with this one. There's 11 and volume 12. And I gotta grab the next box of books. All right, so this next one was specifically recommended to me by a viewer who has, I believe, a channel called Glammin' in Horrorwood. So if you're watching this, I went ahead and went along with your recommendation of Go With the Clouds, North by Northwest. So this one, they recommended it to me about a month or 2 ago, and it's by Aki Irie, who's the same creator as Ran in the Grey World, or Rod in the Grey World. So I got all 5 of the current volumes. This is actually volume 4. Let me go and get them in order. Here's volume 2. Picked up all 5 of those. Hopefully be able to read these pretty soon, and I can verify for you whether I enjoyed it as much as you are hoping that I would. And I'm sure I would. The artwork is fantastic, and I've had my eye on this one for a minute. Then we've got from the creator of Smoke and Parade and Dead Man Wonderland is Livingstone, 4-volume series. It's a short one. I believe at least one of these volumes was out of print for a while, unavailable for a while, but it was all available. So I decided, since it was, time to go ahead and grab that one. I think with this I have everything of the creator that's available in English. And then one more from the Kodansha sale, and that was Mysterious Girlfriend X. I saw someone talking about it on Twitter, and it sounded and looked, just the artwork and stuff and the plot, it all looked like something that I would really enjoy, so I decided to go ahead and pick it up. All 6 of the 2-in-1 volumes for this series. And that's everything that I picked up from the Kodansha sale. Now, the stuff that I'm really, really pumped about is all the stuff that I grabbed off eBay. So let me get that all together and we can check it out. Okay, so these first 2 are actually from Right Stuff, but because these finally were available, it made me start eBaying the creator's other works to see what else was out there for decent price. And that is Lone Wolf and Cub Omnibus Editions Volume 11 and 12 from Dark Horse finally got reprinted. So now the entire, at least when I ordered it, all 12 volumes were readily available on Right Stuff. So you can get the entire series now. This wraps it up. And so seeing these, getting these, I was like, I wonder what other, I basically went down a rabbit hole of Koike, and I was like, how many of his works are available in English, and what is something that I can find easily on eBay? And I found some really, really fantastic deals thanks to a really great eBay seller who was willing to give me a good discount. Basically, he was able to take some offers since I was buying 3 of his lots. But from a separate seller, I did get the 4 omnibus editions of Samurai Executioner. These are not in the best condition. I will admit that, and that's fine because he was selling them for rather cheap, so I'm not too upset about, they are pretty creased on the spine and pretty yellowed on the pages, so I'm not really upset with that. It's volume 3, and my stack's getting really high over there, and volume 4. But the other seller, he had 3 separate lots, and I basically reached out and was like, hey, do you want to sell me those 3 lots? And I just found 2 other books. This one's from the Kodansha sale, it's not Kodansha, but I bought it at the same time as I bought everything from the Kodansha sale. Welcome Back, Aureole is a BL book from Tokyo Pop by the same creator as Skip and Loafer, so I wanted to pick this one up. Partially because I wanted to compare the artwork between the, this a BL release and that series, a seinen release, to kind of show how artwork can differ from the same creator within 2 different demographics. And also 7 Deadly Sins, 4 Nights of the Apocalypse, Volume 8. Okay, so back on track. So the guy had 3 separate lots, all of Kazuo Koike work, and I messaged him, said, hey, I'm interested in all these, would you be willing to cut a deal? And he's like, yeah, just message me whatever you think is fair. And if I'm being honest, I probably undercut him quite a bit, but he went with it, so it is what it is. But these are going to be out of order, I think. But first up, we've got most of Path of the Assassin. So this one is, I don't think this has been, I'm pretty sure, it's never been released in like oversized omnibus editions. It's still only available in these small pocket size editions. And I'm only missing the last 2 volumes of this series. So he had almost the entire series in really fantastic condition. Some of them were actually still wrapped, like they were brand new. A couple of them are older and not in the best condition. This one is volume 1. Yeah, so here's volume 1 of Path of the Assassin. Yeah, this one is still, volume 8 is still in its wrapping, brand new. Volume 11. A couple of them look like they might have been ex-library copies, so they did have a little bit of wear and tear. Like this one is definitely an ex-library copy. This is volume 10. It has like tape over, or the plastic over. It even has the little scan thing in the inside. Yeah, Las Vegas Clark County Library District. So volume 10 is an ex-library that I still need to clean up. But aside from that, everything else is in fantastic condition. Here's 12 and 13. I just need to get the last 2 volumes to complete that series. Unfortunately, as things would go, those last 2 volumes are rather hard to find. Then another lot of his was a bunch of shorter titles, so the single volume release from Dark Horse, Color of Rage, and then some stuff from Comics 1. These are old releases. Offered 1 and 2. This is the complete series. This was, I think, 4 volumes in Japan, but it was recollected in the US as 2. And then Wounded Man, volumes 1 through 9, which is this complete series. It was originally 11 volumes in Japan, but Comics 1 put it into 9 volumes in English. The first 5 are missing the dust jackets. They all have dust jackets, but the first 5 don't, which is fine because he did have them listed pretty low already, and then I sent him an offer that he accepted that was even lower. So I'm not upset about that, but just putting it out there. Y'all are like, why do these look different if you're familiar with how they're supposed to look? But 6 through 9 do all have their dust jackets intact, which I'm glad that I was able to find this for one big reason being that I had passed on them at a local comic shop that had the copies in stock, and I was gonna come back and get them, and then they weren't there. So that's 2 of the lots that he had. And then the last one, we've got every single issue of Crying Freeman. Now, this one I was excited to find. I used to own the paperback, the Dark Horse 5-volume edition of Crying Freeman. And I sold those because after reading them, I loved the artwork, but the story just wasn't it for me. And so I needed some extra cash, so I decided to sell them at the time. But when I saw, because the prices on those are not great right now, but when I saw all of these single edition or single issues available for a pretty low price, and then he accepted the offer from me for buying all of his lots, I was very excited. I was like, I can't pass up on that. I've talked about doing it with some other things that I have before, but this might be the first one I do it for. I might wind up binding these, like getting these custom bound into hardcovers when I have some extra time to take on the project and money to pay for that. But this is the entire series. I'm gonna kind of rush through these. I don't wanna spend too much time because the video is already gonna be long. But the entire series was released originally by Viz in these single issues. And if you're familiar with, you know, manga and stuff from the 90s, from the early 90s especially, most of it did come out in these single issues before being collected, you know, basically treating it similar to Western comics. And so Viz did have these, and then they did put it out in collected editions, and then Dark Horse eventually got the license, which makes sense. Dark Horse would probably be interested in getting anything by Kazuo Koike, since he, being the creator of Lone Wolf and Cub, that was their highest selling manga for a very long time. It was a huge seller for Dark Horse until basically recent years when Berserk has taken over that title as their highest seller. So yeah, so they got it, they published it in 5 volumes, but it's been out of print for a little while, as well as pretty much everything else by Kazuo Koike, aside from Lone Wolf and Cub, which was just recently reprinted. Now, I have everything by Koike in English, aside from those last 2 volumes of Path of the Assassin, new Lone Wolf and Cub, which I think I only own 2 volumes of, and finally, and this is the hard one, this is the one that's going to take a while, Lady Snowblood, which, if you're familiar, you know that's going to be quite the feat for me to try and find that without, you know, spending an arm and a leg for it. So I'm joining many others on the hunt for Lady Snowblood. At the very least, I do have the Criterion collection of the movies. And there's the final issue of Crying Freeman. All right, I'm going to clear this all out of the way because I have one more lot, and this is the big one. This is the one that I was looking for some of these volumes for years. let's get on into it, the final part of the May haul. One more single volume before the big thing. I got the first volume of Samurai Crusader. This was an old Shonen Sunday title published in English by Viz. There's 3 volumes total. I got the first one for a really nice price off of eBay. I think about cover price. Yeah, it's a $17 book. I think I got it for like 15 bucks plus shipping. So that one, and it's art. It has artwork by Ryuichi Ikegami, who did Crying Freeman and stuff. So it was kind of related to the other stuff. And this is the one that I've been looking for. This is the one I'm so excited about, and that is Old Boy volumes 2 through 8. I've had volume 1 of Old Boy on my shelves for years, and I've searched and just not come up lucky until recently. And there was someone who was literally only selling 2 through 8. It was too heavy of a coincidence, and it was pretty expensive. So I put it, and this is a lesson to anyone, like if you're not super familiar, if you don't do a lot of like shopping on eBay and stuff, put things in your wish list or on your watch list first. Watch the item and wait for a little bit to see, because sometimes, especially if that item has been sitting there for a while, they will offer you a percentage or an amount off of whatever they're selling it for. And he did, but he had it open because even his offer was more than I really wanted to pay. So I countered with an even lower offer, expecting for him to counter my counter, and the dude went for it, which I was very surprised by. And I wound up getting the 7 volumes of Old Boy that I needed for, I think each one was $2 or $3 over cover price, which honestly is not bad considering, number one, if they get reprinted, I wouldn't be surprised if they went up from being 14 to like 16 bucks with inflation. And number two, because each of these, it's not just that they're in wrapping, but they are still in the original cellophane. These are in brand new condition. Every single one of these volumes, brand spanking new condition. This was the biggest get that I've had in quite a while. The only thing that would have made it better is for it to be cheaper, but I already got the person to knock down the price that they were asking for, like, quite a bit. I don't remember exactly what it was when it started, but I definitely made out on top. I made out like a thief, in my opinion, on this one. And that's it. That is my May haul. There was a lot here, so this video wound up being a lot longer than I intended. But thank you so much for watching. I hope that there's a lot of stuff that you're excited to see me add into my collection, and things that maybe you didn't know about and now you're gonna try to pick up yourself if it sounded good to you. So thank you everyone for watching. Thank you anyone who gave recommendations for some of the things that I did wind up picking up throughout the month of May. And now I guess it's time for me to start cleaning all this up and getting back to reading some really great books. I'll see you all in the next one. And if this is your first time here, remember to hit that subscribe button before you go. Thank you again. See you on the next one. Peace out.